What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Twist Johnson. So, grab your drinks or your substance, or stay sober-minded if you will. And with that being said, let's start the show. But if you feeling my vibe, like, share, and subscribe. Catch me on all social media platforms down in the description below. And before we get into this sister with me, we got the current events that nobody asked for. So today's current events is going to be quick and fast. We talking about the 90s, blast from the past. Nintendo 64 is having a reboot. The games that you can look forward to be playing is 007, Mario Go-Kart, Super Smash Brothers. The price right now is $250, but it's still going to have the games that you can connect inside. It has the same controllers. When I heard that announcement, I was excited. So that's the current events that nobody asked for. And now we're going to introduce our sister inside the building.
Hello, everybody. My name is Laverne, but I am known as Elevate with Vern on all social media platforms. I'm from nowhere else than New York, baby. I rep New York all day long. I'm originally from Queens. I lived in Brooklyn for 8 years, and then I moved upstate New York. I just can't leave New York because I'm a New Yorker. And I am a mindset renewal advisor where I help you to live your ideal life and to change your mindset to a positive thinking from that negative, scarcity, limited belief. Baby, you should be supposed to have a growth mindset. And I help you, I coach you, and I give you tools, tips, and techniques to live that ideal life because you can live that. You don't have to stay small, baby. You are big. Remember, the devil don't mess with losers, okay? So we all winners up in here. Yeah!
Amen. Spread love is the New York way. We got the cousins from across the bridge, not the Bronx, but the Queens and Brooklyn side coming to the Manhattan side. Before we jump into the show, we're gonna do the pour out and pour up. So who you gonna pour out for, or who you gonna pour up for?
Pour
You wanna
out is
pour
from
out?
my mother-in-law who passed away last year, and she's a Brooklynite, okay? She's from Brooklyn, Fulton
Brooklyn,
Street. Don't
Brooklyn.
mess with her. And I really miss her so much. So I love you, Ma. And my pour out is to my sister, whose birthday was actually yesterday. So big up to my sister April.
Let's pour. Now
Yes.
let's jump into it. Let's jump into it.
Go.
All right. So, um, that's that like so when you're talking about like guidance and you're talking about someone who's giving coaching, um, expertise. Let's just dig into that first. I know a little bit of it because we've always shot the gift, but for the audience out there, they're new to you. So why don't we just let them know what the education background is and like what the certifications that you have?
Professionally, I am a recruiter for a major gaming company. That's all I'm gonna say. But
Yeah.
But in my business wise, what I am, I'm a keynote speaker and I talk about life experiences. I talk about what I went through living in New York. Okay, the real is no fake here, like almost getting robbed and almost getting, shot at and all that other stuff. You know the real how New York is and
Yeah.
how God just saved me through it. So I talk a lot about God, about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I am a Christian and I know I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for God taking me through this. I was a young widow at 23 years old, living in Brooklyn, New York, didn't know nobody. Lived there for 1 year. Like I said, I'm from Queens,
Hmm.
but living in Brooklyn and just learning how to live that life now without my spouse, right, was
Hmm.
super hard. So the mindset renewal comes in with I could have took that portion of my life. I could have been a prostitute. I could have been a drug addict. I could have gave my kids up for adoption, and they would have took them because I was young.
Right.
But I said no. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna do this because I have been through that, and I know I can get through anything else. You know the old saying: if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. That is so true.
And that's still a
So I
social
was
thing.
born. Yeah, I was born in Brooklyn. I was born in Cumberland Hospital, and unfortunately, my mother passed during childbirth with me. So I was adopted straight out the hospital to a loving home. Never knew I was adopted till I was an adult, married, grown, never had a clue.
Hmm.
And so when my mother my adopted mom told me, I didn't believe her. So I didn't think about what she was saying. I thought it was a joke. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, that ain't real.
Mm.
And then the next year she passed away.
Mm.
And then 18 months after that, my husband passed away. So it's like, who got time to look for family? I got to get this right. And if
Yes.
your mental ain't right, guess what? The devil will creep in and do what he wants with your mind. So I chose to go with God. And this is what I do. I talk about, just not having those limited negative beliefs. Because
Mm-hmm.
I could have been the type of person to say, oh, I'm in the projects. I'm never going to get out. What's going to happen to me? I could just be sleeping with Tom, Dick, and Harry and having baby after baby. And I said, nah, that's not what I want. And
Right.
my husband wouldn't have wanted that.
No.
So, you have to pull that strength from within and you have to, take that step out on faith, even though you don't see the staircase, and keep on going and don't quit and don't give up.
I love that. I love that. So it's like you're not just no walk in the park. And I tell a lot of people that like I don't take away from the people who could give it to you by the book and in theory, but it is different when you can give it from theory and also experience. Like
Yeah.
it's relatable, like but to each his own. Like I said, like you got a lot of individuals out there who's magnificent aside of this whole profession and they might not have had those experiences. But I would say is that like people do relate a little bit more if you actually can relate to what it's like to have that because you know the pain behind it. And your business side of it, what is your targeted clientele? Like who are you speaking to?
I am speaking to individuals over the age of 40
Okay.
who are ready again to shift that negative thinking that they can never get out of where they are. They're always going to be broke. They're never going to have a house. They're never going to have a spouse. I'm speaking to those who maybe their mother and father never told them I love you, or never told them you can do this, or never told them you are beautiful, you are smart. I'm speaking to those adults because we carry those trauma from childhood into adulthood, right? You didn't grow up with a father, and
Right.
now man or woman, and you get up to an age where now you're like a woman, you're looking for a father figure, or a man, he's looking for a mother figure, or whatever the situation is. So I'm speaking to those who are ready to shift their mindset. I will encourage you, I will empower you, I will lift you up, and I'm going to tell you the real. I'm going to tell you what you got to do, because doing the work is the hard part. You
Okay.
can talk a good game, but when you got to do that work, when you got to let friends go and family go and do what you got to do, and I just want to help you to maintain a good vibration in life and just have good energy, because coming from New York, we all have that negative energy all around us, but you don't have to stay in that. You don't have to stay in the projects for 8, 9, 10 generations. You could be the first one in your family to own a home,
Mm-hmm.
to have a vehicle, to be an entrepreneur, to be a college graduate. We know some of our great great grandparents, they didn't graduate from elementary school, from
True.
8th and 9th grade, right? So you graduated from high school, you graduated from college, you are doing something. So I'm talking to those people who think they can't get out of it. You can. You
Mm-hmm.
just have to shift your mindset, and then your mindset will shift to a better way of life. For me, living in the projects, and unfortunately with my spouse passing, I was like, we never wanted to stay there anyway. That was just a stepping stone. It just delayed me because now I have to do this on my own. But that gave me the strength and the encouragement to move on. And God literally spoke to me and said, move today. I had a job, I had an apartment, I was doing good.
Mm-hmm.
I had $1,000 in my pocket. I got on the Greyhound bus with my 5 babies and I moved up here where I'm at now, upstate New York. And ever since then, this is how I got my name, Elevate with Vern. I've been elevating ever since. Listen, God don't make no mistakes. He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he will make you leave your comfort zone to make you uncomfortable so you can pull that strength from down in here.
Right. The
Because we all
challenge.
got it. We
Yes.
all got it. You
Um,
just got to find it, your
mhm.
purpose. And that's what I do. I
No.
help you come over that,
Come
overcome it.
on.
Adversity in life, we all go through something, but overcoming that is such a beautiful feeling when you're like, wow. I still think about it till this day. When I lived in the projects, I lived in Tompkins Projects. Hello,
Come on.
and right down the street from Jay
Come
Z. Not
on.
to name drop, but literally right there, right?
Yeah.
And someone got shot in front of my door, and guess what? Not a bullet came through my door. So you talking about adversity and tough times, baby. I got you. I can tell you all about it and tell you how to strive and how to keep your mind focused and keep on going. So that's who I am. Elevate with Burn.
I used to think that 40 was older, and that's when I was younger. 40 is actually not old. And how you're tapping in and you're channeling into these individuals, that you need that. I've spoken to a lot of individuals that sit in my seat as a client, or that we're just like having spontaneous conversation as a stranger, that now we gain rapport after a while. A lot of people from 40 plus, they still have that immaturity, or they still have traumas that they did not they didn't work on. So either they need therapy or coaching, or they got comfortable or uncomfortable and don't know how to get out. So we definitely need a lot more of that, and I'm commending you on that, because thank God, I won't be one of those individuals, but I could have easily have been.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends that they are already up to that age, and they're starting to hit that plateau of depression, because they're like, dang, I got all these kids, or I didn't go to school, I'm not happy in life because I didn't do anything I wanted to do. And the reality of it is that life actually takes a toll. It's faster than we actually thought it was. And once you get older, you realize how fast it is. Like, wow, it was just a few years ago I was crying to get out the home. Can't wait till I'm
Okay.
18. Can't wait till I'm 25. And now you're like 35, 40, 45, and you're like, dang, what did I do in my life? And like now you're trying to play catch up, because the clock that you feel like is ticking, and you got a lot more days behind you than in front of you, so you start to get fearful, you get anxiety. There's a lot of individuals like that. So I don't know if it's just male or female that you're speaking to. I would like, just like
It's
how you
both.
were
It's both.
designing it. It sounds like it's for both genders or genders, any
All
gender.
gender.
Eh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to
Because
come for me,
everybody
or
goes
gender.
through everything, no matter who you are.
Hmm.
We go through these things in life that stays attached to us,
Right.
and we have to learn how to overcome it. And I'm going to say this for everybody listening: adulting is trash.
Yeah.
Period.
They didn't tell
If
us
I
that.
could go back,
Who doesn't want to go back? Come on, but you can't. Hmm. And what
yes,
do our
yes.
parents always tell us? Hey, I'm not going to be here for long. And it's like you don't think that until it's there. My father was notorious for that. I'm not gonna be here for your whole life. I'm not here all the time. And like now we have to really practice that too. Is that like we understand? Like we have that revolving circle, the circle of life. So you give what you could. So you as a person that's giving the information, because you can't keep it unless you give it away. You're not. While you here, you doing your service. You preach when like you're giving the honor to the Most High. I hear that.
Oh yeah.
Um, when someone is not connected spiritually, how are you giving coaching?
So first, I do let them know, that my business is Holy Spirit led. So I,
Okay.
I let them know up front. So when they come in and they hear me say that, sometimes, they want to be interested in, how can I get some Jesus or, whatever,
Yeah.
right? And it's your intimate relationship with Christ that is going to take you to the next level. And if you don't believe in Christ, I have people on my channel that are atheists. No lie.
Okay. All right.
And one of them literally reached out to me and asked me to pray for their mother. And they've been following me for years. And I know they're atheists. They're very respectful when they come in. They said, Vern, I don't believe in that, but I like coming to hear you because you don't preach at me. You talk and I feel it.
Hmm.
No problem.
Yes.
They messaged me privately and asked me to pray for their mother. And in my mind, I'm like, Lord, what's going on? Like,
Okay. Yes.
but when they stay there long enough, and I'm remarried, and I love this one. My new husband, he says this. He goes, you sit in the barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut.
Yeah.
Whether you got long hair or short, after a while, you're gonna be like, I've been here 8 hours. Let me hop in that chair, right?
Absolutely.
So that's how I think of it. He might be that way, but when he's coming to me, he's feeling that.
Hmm.
And he's like, okay, can you pray for my mom? Of course, absolutely.
Hmm.
But you're an atheist.
Right. Right. No, I mean,
So and I won't tell them not to,
absolutely.
So
I mean, yeah, I was just curious how that looks, because yeah, you have atheists, you have people that might feel like you're a magnificent fit. You're so relatable, but I'm not really into the spiritual thing. I don't have that belief, so it's like I'm not sure how this will work. And you said you do have some in your community, and I commend that again, not to force that, because religion can make someone walk away. It's a
right.
it's a realm that could be intimidating. Not everybody's for it. And like, yes, I'm connected. I love Jesus. It's not culturally only, it's because I found my own way with like people who were given a journey. You gotta go through a thing or two to go through a thing or two. And I think people get it misconstrued, like as you get older, like it's when you going through like your most like terrible areas of life, and then that's when you find God. And then when you become great, you leave. Like I try to encourage people is that, like, hey, listen, just because you're going through like these trials and tribulations, don't let that be the only time you seek. Like when it's over, you get whatever you ask for. Like I make jokes all the time, like I prayed for bikes. Like, oh God, please let me get this mongoose. All right, if I got that mongoose and I'm riding around and I forgot that Jesus gave me the mongoose, like God provided that, and now I don't visit him again until like the will broke. That's not fair. Like love should
Right.
be like reciprocated both ways. So what that means, we're through a touch of goes, religion could be that way, but it's like I try to like just tell people, it's like holla at him even when you up.
Period.
Holler at them even when you up,
Absolutely.
because like yes, this is someone that we were taught through like the books and the research and the understandings, but the belief of it is it's not just a belief that like yeah I believe in this, but you don't have that feeling behind it. Belief is a feeling that it exists. So if we feeling like this guy is a person and he exists and you saying you love him, what do you do for people that you love? You don't just talk to them
Right.
when you need money, because
That's right.
that's how God might feel too. If you talking to someone, you only call them up and they feel like dang you only calling me because you need something. You know what happens? Eventually, after when you come, they make you go through the loops, or they
Right.
don't answer at all until you show up a different way. That's how I'm learning how
Right.
God works too. If you just only coming when you're in trouble, you're not gonna turn you away, but it's gonna come a time to where it's like now you gotta work for it. And then that's where you probably see like, oh, okay, this is God. I'm glad.
Right.
Yes, I'm glad that you connect culture and when it comes to religion inside of it. Do you do prayer with your community too? Do you have sessions with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So anytime I start any of my social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, any of them, I always pray first and I pray when I leave. But I also do prayer on every Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone is welcome, as long as you're coming there for something. And when you have an intimate relationship with Christ, you literally can hear him talk to you. And again, it doesn't have to be money or anything like that. It could be you just want to get a job, you want to get a house, it could be something like that. But are you praying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, besides asking, are you praying? You don't just go and pray and ask God, give me, give me, give
Right.
me. Like, are you telling him, like you said, are you telling him you love him? Are you telling him, thank you for waking me up this morning? We all know we from New York. Come on, we gonna keep it
Yeah,
real. Can
keep
we
it
keep it
there.
real for a minute?
Keep it there.
We know people that didn't make it out of their 20s, out of their
Mm-hmm.
30s. We know people that literally went to the other
Yes.
side, right? And when we think about it, we're like, wow. And the old saying for some black men, not all, was they didn't think they were gonna make it to 25.
25. Yes. It's still there. It's still there.
So when you're in that mentality of thinking you're not gonna make it, I say this from Les Brown. I love him so much. He's one of my
Mm-hmm.
mentors. Is speak what you seek until you see what you said. Stop speaking, I'm broke. Stop speaking, I'm never gonna have. Turn it around
Mm-hmm.
and say, you know what? I can I am more than a conqueror. I am the head and not the tail. I can have good credit. I can get a house. You have to really believe that
Mm-hmm.
and know that when you have God in your life, you'll get it faster. And he'll make it to a way where even though the paper say your credit ain't good, you don't have the down payment, God said, but man, it's impossible. But with him, it's
Right.
possible.
Yeah, I try to keep it where it's a mutual space because I have a diverse audience, but when we
Mhm.
are talking to like our community and our culture as far as race, that does look different. So I try to give that education on that side as to where what you're saying, like that's our reality. We are it's learned behavior, but it's also off of like what we see. We see people passing away at early ages. We're kids already having rest in peace shirts. Didn't even get to see our friends, make it. And then like once we make it past 25, we're like, oh wow, this is a thing. I too was like I fell into those statistics that I was feeling like, oh God, well, it is what it is. It's not a sure thing. But then when it happened, it's like, okay, so now what? Now what do you do? I did make it,
Right.
so it's like, oh, okay. Um, and like when it comes to our culture, like that's something that's a normalcy, which is, and
Yeah.
that should be incorrect by now. We're getting better with it because we are seeking help and
Yeah. Better.
we're talking about it no more. But like as people of color, like the young brothers and young sisters, I'm not gonna make an excuse for us to say that we don't like kind of put ourselves in certain situations or circumstances, but like I said, learned behaviors like brutality of the police, and then us who like we fall into these areas like in the projects and these low income areas to where it's either be a prey or be be get preyed on. That's it. So it's like that dog eat dog world. It's like I gotta get you before you get
Right.
me. You know what I'm saying? And like yeah, it's unfortunate, but like it's more of that than brothers and sisters trying to say, hey, don't go that way, but that's on a smaller way. But then on a global scale, like you also got to remember when we talking about therapy, we talking about mental health. You got to remember we dealing with society coming from these broken homes, having to grow up fast, witnessing domestic violence, having your grandma become your parent, and then they transition because they're older, and now you forced to grow up faster than you're supposed to. Siblings, the actual chain of command in theory actually becomes what you have to do in practice, to where the oldest is actually your parents, the middle child is a nuisance, doesn't know where to fit, and then the younger child is a younger child, but there is rank. So it's like all of that channels in, and like when it comes to like our culture, like we have a lot of that. Like we have a lot of
Yeah.
like those stories, and it never stops. It never stops. We
Yeah.
have the you know Khalid Browders, the guy who was in jail, wrongfully
Mhm.
prosecuted, but like he fits the description. We had the Trayvon Mons, he had the hoodie on. So I mean, you know, there is a such thing, and there's a such thing as clothing. Like how you dress is how you get addressed. I too, let's be real. If you saw a brother walking down the street with like a whole hood on and his pants down and he, like like I'm thinking he's up for game. Like he wants to rob. He want to do his thing. So I too would be like, all right, let me be on guard. But
Yeah.
because we come from that culture, we won't be as standoffish because we know 9 out of 10 is like, all right, that's probably just how they dress. But we all on guard
Right.
too. But if you take us out and then you put us with a different culture, now that heightens it to where it's like, oh, I might as well cross the street or I'm gonna call the police, and we'll get upset like, oh, I wasn't even doing that but walking down the street. But let's be real here. Like clothing and like appearance definitely does pave a way like how you want to get addressed. So how do you do your coaching? Is it virtual? Is it in person?
So it is virtual. They can find me on my website. All they have to do is book a call. The clarity calls, there is a fee for it, but the spiritual consultation, it's free. And what I mean by free is I don't charge you anything. If you want to donate, you can. But if you just like, I just having some issues now with my family and I want to talk about it. Whatever you need, I am there for you. And I'm not trying to be funny, but when I tell you God blesses me in so many other ways. Like I have a PO box. I went today. You should see the big old box that I had today. Like people bless me with things like that. So I don't mind giving services free if I can help you in any kind of way. I helped a young lady on
Okay.
YouTube through a friend. and she was homeless, and well, she was getting ready to be homeless. She had just lost her job, and I said, well, what state is she in? Because I have a lot of
Okay.
connections, and I know people in different places and different fields like you. And I said, well, let me see what I can help her with. Give me like 2 or 3 days. I called somebody. Let's get this girl. What can we do? We raised money for her on my YouTube channel. I said, I don't want anything. Her cash app is this. Send it to
Yes.
her. The girl wound up getting a whole year free of rent, light and gas. They helped her get a newer vehicle because she had a vehicle, but it was demolished. It was messed up, and she was dating a guy who was like no good.
Sure.
And this is what it's about. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about helping someone up. The only time you should look down on somebody is when you pulling them up. We come from that era of, like you said, dog eat dog, stepping on. I don't want that life.
Yeah.
I want to, oh, this person, is on drugs and they need help. I might know a drug center in your area, but you got to do the work and you got to want to get better. I can want it for you and I can pray, but are you praying for you? If you not praying for you, this is not going to
Mhm.
work. So that is what I do. I help people to come up and get up to that next level. I'm not saying you're going to be a millionaire if I help you, but I can help you to get your life, again, live your ideal life. Because we're not out here in the streets. We're not
No.
outdoors. We're not
No.
outside. I'm trying to help you live your ideal life.
Mhm.
Like you said, from that 25-year-old, now you're like, wow, what do I do now? I'm trying to help you to realize there's life
Yes.
after that.
Yes.
Yeah, you can still become something. I seen a lady that was 80 years old who had her first modeling contract. Beautiful lady. So don't tell me, life doesn't stop at a certain age. As long as you're
Mhm.
breathing, God's not done with you
At all. At all.
at
Mhm.
all. I seen a man that was 99 years old, a black man, and you can Google it. I forgot his name. Got his high school diploma. 99 years
Mhm.
old. Why
Why
not?
not? Why not? I mean,
Instead of you sitting there saying, God, why me? Why not you? Why not you be the change that you want to see in
mhm.
others? So when they see that change in you, they're gonna be like, yo, she was a young widow and she was here and she did that and look at her now. Yeah. So don't be envious
No.
of me. Oh, Vern got this and because you don't know what I went through, the crying, the tears, the I don't know what I'm gonna do and how. But when you see that, and then you could be like, wow, if she can overcome that, so can I. I'm nothing but a little black girl from
Hey.
Queens, New York, baby.
Hey. Come on. Come
Okay?
on.
But when I walk in a room full of people that don't look like me, you best to believe they're gonna
Oh
respect my
no,
name.
you got to.
I'm the yellow bird in a room full of black crows. When I walk in there, I light it up. They see my
Mhm.
presence. Not to brag and to boast, but you're not gonna belittle me and betray me because of the color of my
Right.
skin. We will not be having that. When I walk in there, I'm walking in there just like you.
Mhm.
And that's how you have to be bold
Mhm.
and you have to walk this and don't let people try to pull you
Mhm.
down. Stand up for something or you'll fall for
Mhm.
anything.
And yeah,
Period.
period. It's like I said earlier, and like when I'm talking like off the air, yes, it's like so we don't when we talking to other colors, like we don't want to make it about the race card, but it's stuff that's inevitable that we gotta point out, like the thick skin. We have to have that. Like we have to put ourselves a little bit more on a pedestal than the usual because of past endeavors, and now it's like going into futuristic aspects. We still got to stand out in the room. When we go to school, we could go to the same school and have the same education, but I'm gonna have to work a little harder to stand out. When we go into
Hmm.
these certain rooms and we having these Ivy League professional conversations at those tables, I gotta pitch it just a little bit more than you do. I'm gonna have to talk a little bit more because I have to show behind that stereotype that I can back. You know what I'm saying? Even in the workplace, when you see a certain yeah, when you
Especially.
see a certain person step up and like, oh, that's the boss, it's real to where it's like even if he's dressed in a suit and tie, you're not automatically gonna think he's the CEO or he's the director. Depending on where you at, because if you live inside the those areas where the majority is blacks or Hispanics or like natives, then that's different. But when you step into like the outskirts that probably have like, a little bit more compensation, it's still to where it's like, all right, well, he might just be the boss of the boss. Like, like you stereotyping on your own. So it's just like, when you do step in those rooms, you have to command it when you step in. And I do it
Yeah.
effortlessly, and like I understand the turn off, turn on, the code switching, and
Yes.
still staying authentic because it's not to offend you.
That's
It's
right.
not to like, just quick like when they say about the LGBTQ. Like we all make our funds and be like, okay, damn, they asking for a whole lot, the community. But just like being a black person is just like being inside of that community. We had to fight a little tougher. We had to demand a little bit more. Um, you have to be out there in some ways. Not all of us are out there in that way, but that's just what it is. It's to where is that like you gotta know that it's like some people might look at us like, damn, they just too proud. Like it's always like, we gotta make it about us. No, it's not making it about us. It's just making sure that you don't act like you don't see us either. Like that's what it is. So
Sure.
nowadays, when I am rubbing elbows with my other descents, like the lighter descents and stuff, like I give kudos. I educate them, they educate me. But I also want them to understand I would never pretend to act like I know what it is to be you. So don't act like you know what it is to be me. Let's recognize and let's make each other aware. And like, especially when we talk about like, if both of us are like going to like the store. Um, how they viewing me in the store is not how they viewing you. If we're walking and we get
Absolutely.
stopped by the police for like a speeding ticket or just anything, um, there's a difference to like how I can respond versus how you can respond. This is the reality of it. So, you know,
Come on.
but at the same time, it's like I can see their sides of things. When we're talking about all walks of life, but when it comes to being that black brother and black sister, we don't have to make an excuse of why we so loud when we come in. If you don't understand it, then it's not for us to educate you. Then you shouldn't be around us. If
Right.
you're not aware and you can't recognize why we do the things that we do, and it's not just out of stupidity or arrogance, then that means that you don't know us. And I'll leave it at that because I don't want to make it a
And
race thing, but it's real.
right. But I just want to say one thing about that. People think that you're affirmative action hired. I've always been the only one that looked like me. I worked at major universities. I worked at hospitals. I worked at banks. And they think that, and I'm like, no, I got in here just like you did through hard work and
Hmm.
perseverance. Okay, so you're gonna respect me because I'm gonna respect you because they will say little silly things out their mouth, and
Yeah,
I always give the people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was me, maybe I misunderstood, but when you do it two, three, four, five times, you're doing that
yeah.
on purpose. And now I gotta check you. I gotta let you know that listen, this is a work environment. We have to
Oh,
work together.
wait, all
This is
too
my bread and
curious.
butter.
I've seen that too. I think that like it's not intentionally to be funny. They want to show that they're an ally, but just doing it like you
Mhm.
said too much is to where it's like okay, like are you an ally or like you trying to prove it too much? Like "Look, I got black friends and my ex girlfriend or ex boyfriend was black, so like. It's like, all right, there's no need for any of that. Like, especially in a
Right.
workplace, you always have that, those few who like they want to show like, yo, like, I watch BT and yeah, I know love it, hip hop, but like not all of us are into that. Oh
That's
boy, like
right.
there's other stuff. Like if you thought that that was gonna be our common ground, you done fucked up already. And yes, I do see that as well. Is the
Period.
like when we're working in these domains where we gotta mix and mingle with other ethnicities and cultures, that token nigga. Like we don't want to say it out loud, but a lot of them are thinking like, oh, HR probably just needed that POC. For those of y'all who don't know, that's person of color. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, maybe we needed
Exactly.
that to show that like, yeah, we love, but they don't understand as people like yourself. People that's like up there in the politicians or those authors, they do work hard. They do have those
They do.
Ivy League schools. And like that's why I'm saying that loudness is like, okay, let's stereotype and start pulling out the resumes, and I'm probably more effective than you. You'll just be effective than meaning you have a better chance of getting in without the hassle than I would.
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Mm-hmm.
real.
Even down to housing. You know, it wasn't that long ago that we had that effect of you don't belong in this neighborhood
Yes.
or you can't afford to be here. I worked hard. I save my money. I should be able to live where I want. I shouldn't. They still have those. What they call it. I'm gonna say it wrong. The towns that you can't go
The
to after
sundown
dark.
towns.
Yeah, they still got those. This is 2024. Are you kidding me? I should be able to go in any. Listen, the only things positive that's always gonna happen in life is death and taxes. Now I can't change the color of my skin, but people have been trying to.
I did
But
not
death
see
and taxes
taxes
are the
coming,
only
but
thing you can't change. And if I pay taxes, I should be able to live
it
anywhere
is death
I
and
want
taxes.
to.
Oh, man. Period.
Period.
No, you absolutely right. I haven't. I thank God I haven't been caught up in sundown towns, but I've passed through, and yes, thank God for phones now, because now we're getting the educations of where. And the funny thing about it is, it's right near you. They don't want to say it out loud anymore, but you do. You have your freedom of rights to where it's like, yeah, if you caught and you're a person of color in a certain area at a certain time, even the law enforcement is just like back in the day. They're gonna turn the cheek,
Yeah.
act like they didn't see it. So it's like you don't want to get caught in that, and then
And I'm upstate New York, and there's some places I'm
yes,
like, I don't
upstate
even
New
want
York
to go
does
to
have
your
sundown
town,
towns,
person.
and
I
you would,
don't want to
yeah.
go there. I don't want to go
So it's like, yeah, you still got to be careful. And the crazy thing is, in sundown towns, there are people of color that live in there, but it's to where it's that like they've been there, they mix, their mother or father is like from the community, so they get that
there.
pass. But it's like, don't you get caught up in there? You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
you know when you start
Stranger.
recognizing that like it's kind of quiet. I won't see nobody. Like nobody. All right, we gotta get up out of there. That means you don't belong there.
Let's go.
um, when it comes to packages and like the type of coaching that you give is spiritual. You give strategies, you give the coping mechanisms. How about like do you do groups? How long is your one-to-one sessions? And like what do people expect to get from you? Like what's like a course like being with you? Are we laughing, we crying, or like we feel like we should just convert our life to Jesus? How's it look? Give us a walk.
No, and yes, you're gonna laugh and you're gonna cry. And listen, I have known to laugh my eyelashes off on my channel. People have made me laugh so hard. So I don't tell you you cannot curse. You're human. You can do what you want, but just be respectful that I am a Christian channel, and you can say what you want. I'm not
Amen.
gonna tell you don't say that. But no, when it comes to coaching, the spiritual coaching, that is minimum of 30 minutes. It usually goes an hour and a half because you don't want to stop somebody from
Mm.
releasing what they need to release. So the spiritual coaching is different. But the other coaching for like the mindset and stuff, that is a fee. We have a clarity call, and from there, if you want to work with me, then I have steps and programs and stuff we go through. And yes, I do group coaching. My group coaching is awesome. I do a
Hmm.
lot of master classes, workshops, seminars. I just had an amazing seminar. We had 4 speakers plus myself made 5, and we talked about shifting your mindset. Like, what do you need to do? What are some things on, the growth mindset or the limited mindset? It was awesome. So, that is available for purchase on my website. And, we talk about these things because you, as the person, as an adult, let me use as an adult, you have children. And if you're sitting up here and they see you sad and crying and all the time, guess what's going to happen? It's going
Yes.
to roll over to them. Just like if you are, smoking and drinking, let's be honest, sometimes we see people smoking and drinking, an adult. Usually their kids are like that. I'm not saying all the time,
Majority of the time.
but most of the time, right? They're going to follow what they see. Kids are sponges. Kids are sponges, just like in class, right? You might have a student that's smart and say, oh, let me help this other student that may be
Hmm.
having a hard time in math. And they're going to connect, and that person will take a test and to get it and pass it. But if they don't have that tutor to help them, they're never going to learn the steps and the tools and the techniques that they want to. And I'm not saying all teachers, but there are some teachers that don't
No.
care if you make it or
No.
not. There are some teachers that don't care, but there are some teachers that
Yes.
do care. And they will work with you. I've known teachers that have come out of their pockets to buy
Hmm.
items for the classroom because the school
Yeah.
doesn't supply it. So you got to make sure that you are around people that want to see you. I'm sorry, using a pun, elevate. Yes. You want to be around people that want to see you elevate, want to see you
Yes.
get to that next level. Because if you are around people that are low level, low energy, low vibrational, guess what's going to happen?
Hmm.
You're going to fall right into it too. So make sure you're getting around people that really are going to just inspire you and empower you to be the best you. What I tell somebody, maybe, because I didn't even know how to drive a car, y'all, until I moved upstate. I was
We
in New
don't
York
need it.
City. I didn't need a car. My husband had a car. I had to sell it, right? But when I got up here, I was like, okay, in order for me to get to
Yeah,
A
you're
to B,
gonna need
I'm going
that
to need a
V.
vehicle. Okay. So, and I seen everybody up here driving. I'm like, I'm tired of hopping on the bus. You know what? Let me go to driving school and get. So after a while, you are going to get that and be like, oh, I want to be like them, so to say.
I mean, that's how it works. I know, like now I'm slowly picking up with the community, and it is first of all like it's your influence as a person. Like you want to make sure that you have presence. You have presence. I've seen a lot of your stuff, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like this,
Thank
cool.
you.
So it's like, if someone is not a fit, which I feel like everyone can be a fit. So if you feel like, okay, you know what, like we did have a consultation, I spoke with you, um I might not feel like, I'm the best person to be the person to provide services for you. I mean, is there a referral, or do you just let them know, like, listen, I'm just keep it straight, we not a good fit.
Of course, I have several people again that I associate with. So I don't do trauma bonds, like people that have
Yes.
trauma in their life. That's not my ministry. I can't understand that. I haven't went through that. But I have several people that I'm associated with that do that. They do journal writing. I don't do journal writing. I have people that have counseling for school counselors and stuff like that. So I will refer you, say, hey, I know someone, go over to them and, maybe they can help you better in the
Hmm.
walk that you're on now. And then, they have people that they refer to me also. And that's why I like my covenant brothers and sisters that I'm connected with. We're all in this circle of literally just pushing people up to be the best. Like I might see something in you, I'm like, you know what? You'll be a good person to do. This young lady, she was doing
Okay.
CBD oil, and I said I have a cat who had cancer, and I was thinking about giving her CBD oil because they said CBD oil is good for animals, and I said, do you do that? And she said, you know what? I don't do for animals, but I'm going to research that. And now she sells CBD oil for animals. It's that simple. Sometimes you
Hmm.
see in a person, you can go to the next level. What
Right.
about trying this? And that happens. I've had people that said that to me. They said, Vern, if you just do this and change this and add this or do that and
Hmm.
don't do that or whatever. And I
I,
did
I
it
get
and
that
it did
all the
work for
time,
me.
and that, yes, that
So,
is beautiful. Like, I'm gonna finish this part, but I want to elaborate on like why I asked the question. But yeah, I get that a lot. For people who are watching you and believe in what you are doing or just support it, if they could get close to you just enough, they will give you that suggestion because they want to see you win. So it's like as over time, like what, okay, I will do that. But there's also such thing as like, come on, I can't please everyone. I can't do all of these suggestions. But there are a few where you be like, all right. You're watching me. I evidently you verbatim you saying the things that I say. Cool. Like I notice things. It's little things that go a long way and small conversations. But the reason why I ask is because you have a lot of coaches out now. This is the thing, and it's becoming the new generation of how the world works. So it's like that silver lining in that gray area of education versus experience. But the reason why I ask is because you'll have a lot of entrepreneurs or people with the businesses, whether it's online or in person. Even if it's not a good fit, they will try to make it a fit because they want that compensation. They want
mm,
that money. So it's more it's over the it's they're chasing the bag. So the bag they're okay with filling it as long as they get that compensation, but you're being a disservice to an individual because you probably don't have the services that could fit to what they're needing. but you're still going to be like, you know what? I'll work with you. Let's see if we can do this. It's like, listen, if I'm not a fit, then I'm not a fit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just now, this
Period.
person invested all, this money into you, and they didn't get anything out of that. you know and there are people who have it, there are people who don't, but for the ones who don't, you want to make sure that you guys do have some type of chemistry, make sure that you have compatibility, make sure that, like, the services that you are requesting, it fits for the need that you have. Not just because someone is a good spokesperson and they got a great pitch, and now you invested your money for the course, and then you realizing, wow, I could have done this by myself, or this person is not available to me, not speaking. At least you have a community. At least you have that intimate touch to where it's like we're praying together, you being true to yourself and your foundation to where it's like, this is what I'm about. This is what I do. So if you're not doing this, this is not for you. It's not okay. Well, you're an atheist, and I'm still gonna try to push
Right.
God. Like, it's cool. It's a come as you are, get what you need. I love that. Now,
I have two groups. I have my Booskies, which is my social media, and then my spiritual side is my Kingdom
yeah,
Warriors. But I want to say this: whatever you do it because you enjoy it. Do not do it for the money. And I'm gonna tell you something
yeah,
that happened to me. But before I say that, never do something for the money, because when people find out you only did it for the money, let me tell you, they're gonna look at you side
oh
eye.
yeah,
Okay, so let me just make that clear. Especially in the field that I'm in. So when my mother-in-law had got sick, she was down in Brooklyn in one of the hospitals down there. We had
mhm,
to go down there to see her, and a couple of the nurses was so nice, so nice. And then we had this one nurse. When I tell you, she was the rudest, nastiest nurse. So you only doing nursing because you make good money. You're not doing it to be compassionate, to be
mhm.
Florence Nightingale, to do
No,
that. You shouldn't be in this. I didn't say anything to her. I tried to, kill her with kindness. I was just being nice, but she was so rude. And one of the directors came up, and she was helping me, and she was like, "Could you give me a pen and paper? I want to give her this number." And she was like, "You want me to give you paper?" Like, she was just rude. And I'm like, "What kind of nurse is this?" But I didn't want to be rude to her because I had to leave and come back upstate, and my mother-in-law was still down there, and I didn't want her to
yes,
retaliate and take it out on her, right? So when you are doing something, listen, I worked at White Castle.
White
Y'all from New
Castle, yeah.
York, y'all know what I'm talking about. White Castle, big up. That was my first real job, but I got a W-2 and taxes taken out of me. When I learned who FICA was, I didn't like her at all, okay? Because FICA was taking all my money. But I worked there for 3 years. I was the best hamburger flipper, French fry maker, cashier that there was, and I did it with love. I didn't do it for the money. Whatever you do, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Because this is
Mhm.
how you find out what your purpose is. You would do it even if you didn't get paid for it. So when I started out in YouTube, I started out trying to find my birth family. So I said, if I put up a couple of videos, then it turned into me being a content creator. Then it turned into me to being, giving people information about YouTube and about how to start your channel and stuff like that. So I was a
Mhm.
social media
I've seen
consultant
it.
for a while. And then that turned into me doing the public speaking. Of course, I spoke at churches, I spoke at schools, spoke at corporate events, and now I get to speak and get paid for myself because
Mhm.
I enjoy it. It's not about the money. Like, I have done speaking
Yes.
engagements for free. Now at the end, I was able to sell my products. Thank you, and I got great connections. But
Hmm.
yeah, I do charge to speak. But if you really need me, we can work out something. It really is not, because I tell you, God blesses me. Like, seriously, this is no cap. This is straight up. Literally, I will get money in the mail. I'll get cash. This guy sent me cash apps, no lie. $50 like every day for like 2 months. I still don't know who he is. I know his name, but his channel name I don't know, so I can't remember. I don't know who he is, but I have his Cash App name, and I'm
Hmm.
just like, look at God every day, cha-ching, cha-ching. And I'm like, so it's not about the money for me, because believe
Absolutely.
me, I get blessed in
Absolutely.
other ways, and I love helping people to see that they can overcome
Mm,
adversities in life. There's nothing like seeing somebody down and you know. I don't know if y'all ever seen this. There's this show that comes on YouTube or somewhere like that, and it's I think it's called Atlanta Homeless or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. But the guy's out there talking to some homeless people. Some of those homeless people are
mm-hmm.
so intelligent. And I'm like, life happened. And they lost, their job, their house, their car, whatever, and how they got in that situation. But not everybody that's homeless is on drugs or is dumb or is
True.
stupid. So, don't judge a book by its cover because if I could help one
Mm-hmm.
of them, I would. And maybe I can tell you about a job referral. Maybe I can tell you about mental health, give you a counselor in your area. Like we helped the girl, find housing. That's what it's not about me. It's about me helping humans, human beings, no matter what color you
That's
are, to
okay.
be successful.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what it's
like when
about.
you inside of these type of areas, this industry of helping, you got to remember it's a passion, and it's peanuts. Not until you don't get rich, not until you like being like a shrink and like Ivy League psychiatrist, like that type of stuff, and that takes time. But yes, when you doing a PHP type of area, the people helping people, like it's for you, but it's for them, and especially if you putting yourself out in the public eye like you're doing. We want to say is like, well, I do it, for me. It's not for you. You're doing a service for people, and that does take discipline. Like first of all, you're dealing with individuals. They have traumas. They have things they haven't worked on. You're dealing with different personalities. You have to deal with like how you are viewed in the public eye, your views versus everyone else's. You got to be open minded. You got to be dedicated to consistency. Like a lot of stuff comes in this. A lot of people think being like very
And you got to be
transparent. And I like
transparent.
what I learned is like
Please.
playing with YouTube, entering that area, and then doing the podcasting, and also like in my professional life off air, is that a lot of times people think that you could just jump into these things and you got it. It's like okay, let's say for example, you first started out, you see a need in your community because that's usually where it starts. You like, man, I'm tired of seeing people that's under the influence, crackheads, cokeheads, whatever, heroin addicts. I want to do something about it. So you get this epiphany is that you want to be a substance abuse counselor. All right. Well, you think that you could just walk in there and start counseling people because you had a conversation or two with someone that's a fiend on the block. No, there's levels to everything you do. And it's like you said, like
It
you
is.
got to
It
do what
is.
you enjoy. If you don't enjoy it and you just do it because it pays well, that's a job and you're gonna hate it. But if you got a compassion for it and you love it, then that's a career. You want a career. Even if you in retail, Foot Locker, if you like getting dressed well, if you like sneakers and you into that stuff, Foot Locker's your domain. But if you are really trying to flip burgers, work at White Castle or Wendy's or any of those establishments, then you shouldn't be at Foot Locker. But for substance abuses or like a helping profession or being a content creator or influencer, you have to understand it's like it sounds good because you realize from a few conversations you're good at it. That execution is to where you still got to research. You got to figure out how to critique your niches.
Most
That's
times.
on air, but off air, you got to figure out how to critique your education, how to critique your skill set, how to be able to talk to people who's like addicted, like what type of approaches they have, because people forget that substance abuse is not just addiction; it's connected to mental health. It's connected to mental illnesses, is connected to like other traumas that deeply rooted is coming from the house. If you take it out of substance abuse, you take it out of addiction, and then you just want to be a counselor or a therapist, guess what? You still need education for that. You still need that. And then when you're getting on the air or you having coaching businesses, like everyone that is inside of these domains, even if you are a coach, there are people that I know that get you, and I love it. I love when everybody's doing it, but there are coaches out there who they are good at business. So they got the bag, but you know, without that, they don't have any push. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay,
Right.
but like you know, just chasing a bag it causes a burden eventually.
Yeah, just like being a content creator. People think, "Oh, that's easy. I can do it. All you gotta do is set up a camera. You gotta edit. You gotta make sure you got the right thing. There's certain things that you can't say because your channel will be taken. There's certain things you can't do. You can't on YouTube. You can't play music because they'll take it. You can play music on TikTok. You can't
Hmm.
play it on. It's a lot of that. And I used to go live for hours and hours on YouTube until I got my community to where it is. Now I don't have to go as long. But people think it's
Hmm.
easy and it's not. And yes, I get paid. But guess what?
Right.
It's not about the money. There's some months for about 4.5 years where I got a check
Hmm.
every month for YouTube.
They do.
YouTube changed the algorithm. And again, speaking about God, speaking about helping people, they don't really want to hear that. They want to see you do stupid stuff and pranks, and I don't do that, right? So my algorithm changed. Guess what happened? My money changed. I was no longer making
Hmm.
1,500 every month on a regular, right? It started going down to 900 to 700 to 600 to
Yes.
500 to 300, and stuff like that. So am I going to stop doing it? No, because the people that I'm talking to is priceless. You can't pay for that. There's certain things money can't buy. And people think it can, and everything has a
No.
price. No, it don't. No, it don't. Everything don't have a price because I have morals and values, and I'm not gonna stop being who I am because you want to give me money. Keep your money.
Yes.
Yes, I need
No, we
money
gotta
just like
eat.
anybody else. I gotta eat too. But baby, there's other ways. There's other ways. So you have to
Hmm.
find out, like you said, what works for you and stick to it and have your morals and your standards. And I tell women and men, but I tell women mostly, there's three things about your standards. Keep your head high, keep your heel high, and keep your standards high. You don't let nobody bring you down. You stand up for that. If you believe in it, like me, I told you green is my thing. And people are like, why you always wearing green? Because it's my favorite color. And then all of a sudden I'll get 3, 4 packages in the
Right.
mail of something
Yeah.
green. Literally. I got this in the mail. My son went and brought this for me. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my God. Like, because he knows, right?
Hmm.
People will surprise you with stuff. You have to have a heart. It all
Yes.
starts here, a heart, right? And you have to be a kind human being. You know, the old saying, do unto others as you want others to do unto you. That is so true. And you
Right.
know, we from New York, so you know that's true. I'm not going to cut you off because I know you might turn around and cut me off or somebody. So you have to
Hmm.
do that. You have to have that kindness
That's right.
and joy in your heart. Because if you could be beautiful, but you could have an ugly, nasty, stinking, dirty, filthy heart. I've seen people,
Hmm.
we from New York, we've seen people like that. They look good here,
That's
but
how.
they evil.
I mean, like,
Oh my
yeah, so, like being a New
God.
Yorker is that like we get misconstrued and misinterpreted all the time. Like when I was talking to another New Yorker, Stephen Rebels, he does commentary on like new gadgets and stuff. And but like I was just asking, I said, hey, like why do people get us misunderstood? And like we was just laughing about it, and like I'm laughing with you. It's just you know why? Because people feel like we're rude. We're like straight direct, straight cut. But what you don't understand is that like we have just like LA and there's other big cities, we have a lot of tourists that come through. You know, we have people that come and don't leave. Um we have so much diversity, but it's like so segregated too. Like it's all walks of life. You got Chinese, you got African Americans, you got blacks, Jamaicans, Koreans, Dominicans. You got all these different like makeups, but at the same time, everyone's in a race to like get to somewhere or get to nowhere. But it's like that rudeness comes from it's always so crowded, so you're always getting bumped. You're getting stepped on. It's not that we don't want to say hello or anything. It's just a natural culture that I don't know where it comes from, but it's from like any generation from anyone who comes from there will say like no one is looking at you and on the train or when you walking by trying to say good morning. Everyone's just trying to get to where they trying to get to. And it's not to us it's not rude, but if you go to a different environment, it's like
Yeah,
oh wow, like people
yeah,
actually talk, people say good morning, they actually hold the door. But it's also
yeah,
to where is that um there's nothing wrong with that person who's mean mugging or cranky or upset. They are polite and they do have hearts. It's just they have a different kind of heart. It's still genuine, still generous, but because of how we speak or like, how we pronounce certain things or like how like strong the punch of the verbiage comes out, people like, oh, it's so intimidated. Like as a New Yorker in itself, like you have to have thick skin. And like that you can't if you can't make it here, you can't if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. That's not just a saying. Because when I do go to other places, I realize how slow paced it is. I realize how the coaches, they don't have what we have. It's expensive, but it's to where it does train you and get you prepared for that survival in other places. The only thing is that like when you go to other places, I want to say is that like I was having a conversation offline before, and I was talking to like a group of mine, and I was saying that you lose things and then you gain things. Like now when you're in New York, like you gain like all the tourist stuff, the cultures, the food, so many things you can. But when you go on the outskirts, what you gain from that is more like nature. It's more quiet. It's more slower. It's the cost of living is cheaper, but that's because it's not really much. You know what I'm saying? But don't be afraid. Hmm.
And the quality of life, right? So I'm upstate. I'm in the
Oh yeah,
mountains. The
you
air is
got
different.
deer and shit
Everything
running
is
around.
different. We're in a higher elevation. When I come down to New York, it's
Hmm.
different. It's congested. The traffic. So and I'm gonna be transparent here. When I come home, I have to psych myself up because
That's
I'm like, okay, I gotta
everybody.
get in
That's
this
that's
rah
all of
rah
us.
attitude,
We all
right?
got to do it. It's like I got to remember. Okay, once I get
I
in
do.
here, like no one's gonna hold the door for me anymore.
Let me tell you something. I came down on Labor Day
Okay.
to see my dad. My dad still lives in Queens. We took the bus. I'm talking to the bus driver. Hi, how are you? Get on the bus. I'm like, wait a minute.
No,
I
no,
forgot I'm not in
no.
Kansas anymore. I'm like, you really gotta be this
Hmm.
rude. Like, I'm trying to say hi, have a good day, and you're on the bus where
I
you're
didn't
what?
realize I
Move
was
it. Like,
rude until I went
okay,
somewhere
I
else.
forgot.
I'm like,
I'm in
damn,
New
we
York.
are rude. And then you go back home, and then you gotta remember, like, yo, like, ain't nobody wake up with a smile talking about good morning. Da, da, da. It's like, yo, hurry up. The train is about to go. We gotta go. Like, please. Like, and like, even when you just walking down the street, when you say hello, 9 out of 10, the culture, what people don't understand is people, it's not because they don't want to help you, it's that there's always someone trying to sell something. So as soon as you say excuse me, we're thinking you trying to stop us
Mm-hmm.
and sell us a product where you probably just say excuse me, good morning, whatever. It's like no. Like, no, no, I'm not interested. Like, oh
Mm-hmm.
wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we all right. So we been here for a little bit. I just want to close up. Vern, this was a breath of fresh air. We've been talking about this for a minute. I made a mistake and like we had to push it, but I'm glad we got to do it. And I would love like if one
Yes,
day
me too.
wishful thinking we come back up again and talk in another direction. But I'm just this is a treat for me. And like I see what you're doing like off air, and I gotta give you those flowers because there's a lot of individuals that are doing the work. There's a lot of us that are not. We're just complaining and we're just saying that like this is what's going on in communities or like the people need to stop this, people need to stop that, but you're not putting nothing on the table and you are. You're coaching. You're giving out Jesus for free, but you getting compensated for like services as you should. But on the flip side of that is that like it gives encouragement to like brothers and sisters like myself who's like falling in line. So like it's we all out here doing work. It's not this we're not talking about it. And I wanted to be clear because I know that we did a lot of black sister, black brother shit up here today. But like our services is for anyone and it's diversity. So I want to clear that up for y'all out there. Like we just playing and just being, like passion and gift, but it's for all walks of life. So you can reach out to her, and you guys will get the same equal opportunity to like shoot the gift and get the prayers. and like have those. It's gonna look different for when you're talking to somebody of that culture, because it's a different education you gotta give. But as far as like general, I just wanted to be like transparent about that. Is that like in generalized, it's for all cultures and it's for all walks of life. So make sure you visit her channel if you want to get in contact with her. I'll have all of her connects down below. It's very funny, very approachable. You gonna get it. Like you're gonna get it. And yeah, like I said, I wanted to commend. Now, in wrapping up, if someone wants to start coaching, whatever coaching area that they want, um, just tell someone out there like what the reality of it is to start a coaching business.
Wow. So, okay. So the reality of the coaching business is nobody's coming to save you. Let's keep it real. Nobody's coming to save you. You are going to have to come out of your own pocket with money. But you don't have to go, just like I tell people when they're starting their social media channels, you don't have to go out there and buy the newest this and the newest that. Use what you have. So use what you have. Start small. Maybe you could put $300 to $500 on the side and use that, and then just do that with your
Hmm.
business. Get your license. Get everything that you have to do together. You're gonna have to get a website, a landing page. You're gonna have to be
Hmm.
live on social media so people can know who you are. You may have to purchase ads. So no, it's not easy. But if you enjoy it, other things will come to you easy, and you network. And this is something important, is collaboration over competition. I work with a lot of other coaches and I don't
Yes.
compete with them. We're all in our own lane. So just know that, make sure you're in a network that is positive, because your network is your net worth, and that is so true. The people you hang around. Okay, I know your mama used to tell you this. If you hang with little Johnny and
Yeah.
Johnny jumped off the bridge, you gonna jump off too? No, I'm not. So be careful of who you're around, who you tell your information to. But I just want to say to anyone, we all have been through something in our life. Any kind of struggle there was, from childhood to adulthood. Don't give up. Don't quit. Stay in the game. Get in connection with people that can help you. Get in connection with people that want to see you do and be your best and live your ideal life. And you can do this. Sometimes I know the old school, we say, the struggle is worth it. Yeah, the
Hmm.
struggle makes you a better person. It really does. It makes you appreciate stuff. And I ain't want to say stuff, but you know what I mean, right? It makes you appreciate it. It really does. Like I said, coming from New York and living where I'm at, man,
Hmm.
I can handle anything. And that's true.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And that concludes another episode of Let's Talk About It. So don't forget you can tune in every week and you can catch my social media shorts on social medias like Instagram, TikTok. I don't know when we'll be able to visit you again, but we will see you again. But I will see you on my own. But for everyone else out there, if you want to catch her, you can catch her shorts on Instagram and all other social medias as well. And you can visit the platform, which I'll have in the description below, as I said earlier. With that being said, love y'all, miss y'all, peace.